All right, in this video, we're going to use a graph to evaluate limits, and that could be one-sided limits or standard limits. And we're also going to look at some other things here. So looking at this graph, it looks like we have a couple what we call discontinuities, the open circles, and also the jump that seems to happen when x equals -1. So this will be an interesting exercise. So the first one is limit as x approaches -1, but from the left-hand side. So this right here, this right here is -1. So we're approaching the graph from the left, and it looks like the y value is getting closer and closer to -1 as well. From the right, though, we're approaching this way, and it looks like the y value is approaching 2. And the answer to the limit as x approaches -1 of f of x, well, that means the left and the right would have to be the same. Otherwise, we can't really tell what the limit is doing. So this is what we call does not exist, and I just write DNE for does not exist. Okay. So then looking further, when x approaches -3, well, that's about right here. And yes, there is a hole in the graph, but it looks like the graph is doing the same thing on both sides. It is approaching the y value of 2. So we can safely say that that limit exists and is equal to 2. Now looking at the infinities, as x goes to infinity, which means to the extreme right, so the arrow tells us that the graph is going to continue to go in the downward direction. So based on what the graph is telling us, all we can really say is that this is going to -infinity. Okay, and then as x goes to -infinity, so the extreme left, it looks like we're also trending straight or trending downward. So we'll say that that's -infinity as well. And just not to lose sight of where we've been in the past, if I want just the y value when x is 1, in other words, f of -1, it looks like we have two options, but remember, one of them is an open circle, which means it's not included, which means that's not the point on the graph. If you want f of -1, you want this one right here. So f of -1 is -1. So hopefully this helps you look at graphs a little bit differently in terms of limits. I thank you for watching.